Let's begin our journey from stone to tech. This is the story of money. A story that has shaped civilizations, driven innovation, and dictated the course of human history. And the story of us. It's a narrative woven into the fabric of our societies, influencing our decisions, our relationships, and our very understanding of value.
And how our belief in shared fictions, these collective agreements that aren't necessarily tangible, built the modern world. From the towering skyscrapers of bustling metropolises to the intricate networks of global commerce, it all rests on this foundation of shared belief.
It's not just about economics, about supply and demand or interest rates and inflation. It's about how trust itself evolved, how we learn to extend our faith beyond our immediate circles and place it in abstract systems.
We'll explore how simple trade problems, the challenges of bartering and exchanging goods, led to coins, the first standardized units of value, banknotes, representing a promise of value, and the digital money of today. The intangible bits and bytes that now dominate our financial transactions.
The journey from favors to finance, from simple acts of reciprocal kindness to the complex world of global banking, is one of the most important chapters in our history. It's a story of innovation, adaptation, and the enduring human need to connect and cooperate.
So how did we convince ourselves? How did humanity collectively agree that worthless objects could be so valuable? What was the catalyst that transformed these trinkets into symbols of wealth and power?
This shift unleashed human cooperation on a massive scale, allowing us to work together towards common goals in ways never before imagined, fueling cities, empires, the rise and fall of civilizations, and global trade, connecting distant lands and cultures through the exchange of goods and ideas.
The story of money is about how strangers learned to cooperate, how individuals with vastly different backgrounds and beliefs found common ground, trusting a system, not just each other, placing their faith in an abstract construct that transcended personal relationships.
It worked in small groups, where reputation and personal connections were enough to ensure fair exchange, but as societies grew, as populations swelled, and interactions became more impersonal, it couldn't keep up. We needed a new story, a new way to facilitate exchange and maintain trust on a larger scale.
You'd rely on your neighbor, knowing that they would reciprocate your kindness in the future. Helping each other out, keeping track of favors, a system of informal accounting based on mutual obligation. That's a gift economy, where goods and services are exchanged without any explicit agreement for immediate or future rewards.
So, if you needed something, if you were in a bind and required assistance, how did that work? How did you ensure that your needs would be met in a system based on reciprocity and trust?
And this universal trust, this ability to extend our faith to strangers and abstract systems, is actually pretty new in human history.
Ever wondered about the hidden wonders of our world? Join us as we uncover the secrets and marvels that surround us. From ancient ruins to cutting-edge technology, every story is a journey. Subscribe now and let your curiosity lead the way. Get ready to be amazed, one story at a time.
For most of our existence, we lived without money, without a standardized medium of exchange, relying on favors and obligations, on the intricate web of social connections that bound communities together.
This shared belief lets strangers cooperate, allowing individuals who have never met to engage in mutually beneficial transactions, trade, and build societies, forming complex networks of exchange that span vast distances and connect diverse populations. Money bridges every cultural gap. It transcends language barriers and cultural differences, providing a common denominator for economic interaction.
Why do we trust it so much? What is it about this abstract concept that commands such unwavering faith?
Pretty much. It's a leap of faith, a collective delusion that somehow works. You can't eat it, you can't drink it, it offers no sustenance or nourishment, and you certainly can't wear it. It provides no protection from the elements, no practical utility in the traditional sense. But somehow we all believe in its power. We imbue it with value, granting it the ability to command goods, services, and even influence.
Wait, so that green piece of paper in my wallet, that symbol of wealth and purchasing power, it's actually worthless? Intrinsically, it holds no value beyond the paper and ink it's made of?
Exactly. You've hit the nail on the head. Money isn't a physical reality. It's not something you can touch and feel and inherently understand, and it's definitely not a law of nature. It's not governed by the same principles that dictate the physical world. It's something we've all imagined together. A shared construct, a collective agreement that gives it its power.
So, money is basically just a story, a narrative that we tell ourselves and each other we all agree on, a fiction that we've collectively embraced and built our world around?
We needed a common language of value money.
That's why economies stayed small and local, until we invented something better.
Barter is inefficient. It makes storing wealth, dividing goods, and trading at scale nearly impossible.
And if my apples rot before the shoes are ready, I'm out of luck.
And how many apples is a pair of shoes worth? There's no standard value, so you negotiate every time.
This is the problem of barter. You need a double coincidence of wants. Both sides have to want what the other has.
So what do I do?
The shoemaker doesn't want apples. He's got plenty of food.
Imagine I'm a farmer with way too many apples, but I need new shoes.
The next leap would change everything.
We needed something even more abstract. Money based on trust, not just stuff.
Barley could rot, salt could flood the market, and famine could turn money into food.
Commodity money solved many problems, but it was still tied to the physical world.
The shoemaker might not want apples, but he'd take salt, knowing he could trade it later.
These commodities were durable, portable, and widely accepted.
In Rome, soldiers were paid in salt. In Africa and Asia, cowrie shells were money. In farming societies, barley or wheat.
The first step away from barter was commodity money, a universal medium everyone agreed on. This set the stage for even bigger changes.
People trusted the king's stamp more than their own scales.
Money was becoming about trust in authority, not just physical stuff.
The value was in the king's promise, not just the metal.
Rulers could demand taxes in coins and pay armies, building empires.
Coins spread fast. Greeks, Persians, Romans. Trade exploded.
Now you could just count coins, no more weighing or testing purity.
King Alyattes stamped lumps of precious metal with his seal, a guarantee of value.
Around 600 BCE, the Lydians in Turkey made a breakthrough coinage. What's the next great innovation? What's the next leap forward in how we exchange value? Banking and credit. The seeds of a new financial era were being sown, promising to reshape commerce and society as they were known.
The world would never be the same. Trade routes expanded, connecting distant lands and cultures in unprecedented ways. The flow of goods, ideas, and ultimately wealth accelerated.
But the idea of money as pure trust, a social construct built on mutual agreement and confidence, was here to stay. This abstract concept would prove to be both incredibly powerful and inherently vulnerable.
Europe was slow to adopt paper money, wary of these risks. They preferred the tangible weight and intrinsic value of precious metals. The concept of faith-based currency was alien and unsettling.
China's experiment with paper money showed both the immense power and inherent danger of fiat currency, a system where value is decreed by the government rather than tied to a physical commodity.
But printing too much paper money without the necessary economic backing inevitably led to disaster. Hyperinflation, a rapid and uncontrolled increase in prices, and ultimately lost trust in the entire system.
This innovation made trade significantly easier, streamlining transactions and fostering economic growth. Paper money also gave governments unprecedented new power. They could print money seemingly at will to fund armies, grand construction projects, and other ambitious endeavors.
The paper itself had no inherent value. It was simply a promise, a representation of value backed by the authority and stability of the state.
Recognizing the immense potential, the government quickly moved to control the system, issuing official paper money and establishing regulations.
In China, merchants, seeking a safer alternative to carrying large quantities of coins, began leaving their precious metals with trusted agents. In return, they received paper IOUs, much safer and more convenient for long and perilous journeys across trade routes.
For centuries, metal coins had been the undisputed king of currency, but their weight and the risk of theft made them cumbersome and dangerous to transport, especially over long distances. The next revolution? Breaking the link to gold entirely.
The vast majority of money was now promises, not physical things.
Money became a complex web of trust, managed by powerful institutions.
Bank runs led to the creation of central banks to stabilize the system.
This fueled economic growth, but also risked collapse if everyone demanded their gold at once.
Money was now an entry in a ledger, not just a coin or note.
Goldsmiths realized most gold just sat in vaults, so they lent out more than they held. Fractional reserve banking was born.
Soon, people traded these receipts instead of coins. They became money.
In Renaissance Italy, merchants deposited coins with goldsmiths, who issued paper receipts.
We've moved from cows and salt to invisible streams of data.
Today, most money exists only as digital records.
When you get paid, no cash moves, just numbers changing in databases.
Money became digital, just numbers in a computer.
At the same time, electronic payments took off. Credit cards, ATMs, online banking.
And because governments say so,
Now dollars are valuable because we all agree they are.
In 1971, the US cut the tie to gold. Money became pure trust, fiat currency.
but as economies grew, this link became a burden.
For much of the 20th century, money was linked to gold, the gold standard. The story of money is being rewritten before our eyes.
Will this dream reshape money or remain a niche experiment?
Cryptocurrencies ask us to trust math and code, not institutions.
The dream is a financial system open to anyone, free from control.
Bitcoin uses a public ledger called the blockchain, secured by cryptography.
In 2008, Bitcoin was invented, a new kind of money with no central authority.
But this system gives immense power to banks and governments, who can track and control transactions.
You can buy something from across the world in seconds. Commerce is faster and more global than ever.
Today, money is mostly digital, a ghost in the global network. And as long as we believe, as long as we hold on to that shared vision of what could be, the story and the possibilities never end. They stretch out before us, an infinite canvas upon which we can paint our future. Each day brings new chapters, new opportunities to shape the narrative.
In the end, money is the most powerful story we tell, a story that resonates across cultures and generations. A fiction that shapes our world. It dictates our interactions, influences our decisions, and ultimately defines the reality we inhabit. It's a story we all participate in, whether we realize it or not.
The story of money is far from over. It's a saga that continues to unfold, with each new innovation and development adding another layer to its complexity. It will keep evolving as we do, mirroring our progress, our aspirations, and our ever-changing understanding of value. It's a reflection of ourselves, constantly adapting to our needs and desires.
Each step has expanded what humans can do together. It has facilitated trade, fostered innovation, and enabled us to build complex societies.
Whatever money looks like in the future, whether it's represented by lines of code or shimmering holographic displays, it will be built on our shared belief in its story. It will rely on the foundation of trust that we have painstakingly constructed over centuries.
Now, most money is digital, existing as numbers on screens and flowing through invisible networks. And cryptocurrencies challenge us to trust code instead of people. They force us to confront the very nature of trust and its role in our financial systems.
Coinage shifted trust to political authority, centralizing power and establishing a standardized system of exchange. Paper money and banking pushed it further, creating institutions that managed and regulated the flow of capital. Trusting promises and ledgers, relying on the integrity of financial institutions and the written word.
Commodity money let us trust in things like salt or shells, tangible objects that held intrinsic value and were widely accepted as a medium of exchange.
The journey of money is really the story of trust, a testament to our ability to forge connections and build systems based on shared belief. How we expanded cooperation from small groups to the whole world. It's a story of overcoming limitations and building a global economy based on mutual understanding and shared values. Our journey from stone to tech is far from over. Who knows where we'll go next? Thanks for joining me on this incredible ride. If you enjoyed this journey, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more fascinating stories from history and beyond. See you next time with a new adventure.